Run your next PB at the Gold Coast Marathon in 2023. Fast, flat and scenic. There is an event distance for everyone, from the full marathon to the kids 2 and 4 kilometre junior dash. Enter now at goldcoastmarathon.com.au.
Child, that your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. Under
Welcome to episode number 287 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. We've got a big show coming at you this week. There's records tumbling to talk about around the Tan in Melbourne. We've got some listener questions, Gold Coast Marathon based. We've got an on Cloudmonster review, training weeks, moose on the loose, all those kind of things that we talk about each and every other week. Welcome to my co-host, the 214 man, Julian Spence. How are you?
Well, I'm actually pretty shit right now. I've done my back. Sitting on the couch right now with a heat pack on it. Pretty comfortable on the couch. Doesn't annoy me. Doesn't give me pain when I lie down. So that's where I'm at.
When? How? Didn't yesterday you run 32k? So
yeah.
It's just happened today?
It happened this morning. I actually got a bit of a tight back through the run. We dropped some fellas off at about like 24k or so, and I thought, gee, my back's a bit tight, and then finished the run off. Actually felt heaps better after that. No problems yesterday, Arvo. All good. Woke up this morning a bit stiff. Massage gun through like my glutes and my lower back for probably 10 minutes this morning. Did a couple of little stretches. I thought, yeah, I'm still a bit tight, but it's not too bad. Then I grabbed the tissue, went to blow my nose, and as I blew my nose, I got this super sharp neural style sort of pain in right in the center of my back, like disc-like. I've had them before. It sends a real electric shock of pain throughout my body, right up my vertebrae, down through my legs, and then I'm basically fucked.
Blowing the nose injury.
Blowing the nose. I've had it before putting socks on. It can be as simple as bending over to pick something up, or it can be something like I was standing up this time, and blew my nose, and it's not like that's the issue that I have to stop blowing my nose. I'm like, that's just the straw that breaks the camel's back.
No good at all. I will introduce my other co-host before we get into too many questions about your health. Bradley Croker, the 217 man. How are you going this week, Croaks?
Oh, not as bad as Moose, but a bit similar with heat packs and ice packs.
No, what's happening to you two boys?
Mine's back related as well, but my back's not so much. I think my back's causing some lower limb issues. I just got some radiating pain down my leg. So a bit similar to the old Melbourne half marathon, carrying the backpack. Similar sort of calf feeling. So, but I think I'll be all right. I'm certainly not as bad as Moose.
Well, do you reckon it's nerve stuff going down into your calf?
Yeah. So I think mine was. So yesterday afternoon we went to the shops, the shopping centre, and we parked outside, and it was pissing down rain. And so to get the kids into the shopping centre as quickly as possible without getting wet, I had Collis on on my side, on my hip, and I'm like running along with him. And I didn't think anything of it. And then we went to the shops, and I got home. I'm like I got that sort of a little bit of like that sciatic sort of pain that you get around your hip. And then I'm like, why is my calf sore? Like in this one spot. And I'm like, I had no calf pain running, nothing at all, nothing on the way to the shops. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And so last night I was like all worried about, can I run this morning? I did run this morning and my calf was fine. But then I got a bit of, like my tib ant started to like flare up a little bit towards the back end of the run. So I find when I stretch my hip out, like if I do one of those like piriformis type stretches, it seems to relieve, like the calf pain goes away. So, but yeah, it'll be fine. Some anti-inflams and just massage and stuff like that. But my back hasn't gone on me like yours, Moose.
But that put you out for a while last time.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I ran today. I was going to do a double today, but I got home and I'm like, well, my tib ant's a bit angry and my calf is, just niggly. So I just took the afternoon off and may just push the session back to Wednesday. See how I pull up in the morning.
Take us through the week, Croaks, leading into this. Yeah,
so I had a pretty good week. Did 62 minutes on Monday morning through Mulligans at 4:19s, and then went out again that afternoon, 4:15s, and did some strides. I think I said last week, like the strides, every week I do them, I definitely feel like just smoother and smoother, and I think it definitely helps everything else that I then do throughout the week. Then Tuesday, because it was Anzac Day, we trained in the morning rather than the afternoon. So we went out to the AIS, parked at the track, but we didn't use the track. So there's a 3K loop that sort of runs around the AIS. And I used to do lots of sessions there. So it's sort of slightly downhill as you run through the middle of the AIS, and then you run around the back, which is, a gradual uphill to the main stadium where the Raiders play, and then it sort of flattens off, and then it's sort of a slight down and flat back to the finish. So the session was a 10-minute tempo, between 2 and 3 minutes sort of jog over to a hill. We then did 5 45-second hill reps, and then took 3 minutes recovery after the last hill rep, and then did another 10 minutes. But the last 10 minutes, because most of the guys are running Sydney 10, so I wanted the second 10 minutes to be harder than the first, and I wanted to make it a little bit more like a 10K effort, which, given you've done the 10 minutes beforehand plus some hills, it made the last 10 minutes pretty tough. So I ran 3:10s for the first 10 minutes, and then 3:06s for the second. And this was actually a pretty tough session. It doesn't look that great on paper, but the second 10 minutes definitely, I was working pretty hard. Just given the hill, also, I guess off the back of 3 weeks of 150K, and Tuesday morning after 32K on the Sunday. But I was happy with, I think doing the 5K time trial and then the tempo after it, and then this session, both of them have been higher intensity, but I feel like it has sort of brought that fitness level up a little bit, which is sort of what I wanted before Sydney 10, or at least got me feeling like how a 10K is going to feel. So, reasonably happy with that session. Then that afternoon, went back out to Mulligans for 7.5K at 4:21s. Wednesday, ran a little bit longer. So I did 25K, 4:09s, hour 45, just because I was going to back off not run quite as long on the Sunday. And after Sydney 10, I wanted to try and get my midweek long runs sort of into that 145 range. So I thought I'd do one this week. Thursday, which is my sort of easier day, I just did 35 minutes at 4:14s, followed by some strides. And then Friday's session, we were down at the lake and just did the 5x6 minutes off 1 minute jog. I actually put a brand new pair of Alpha Flies on, the pair that I plan on using for the race. I just wanted to do one session in them beforehand, whereas normally for this session I've just been using the Next Percent 2. So this went really well actually. So I ran 3:14s for the first 6 minutes, 3:11, 3:08, 3:08, 3:03, and was jogging, probably averaged about 4:30s for the jogs. So yeah, in totals like 10.4K at 3:16s. Heart rate was pretty good, like average 161 for the total session, where I did it a month before and averaged 162. But also I think the shoes, like compared to the next percent too, I'm way more efficient in the Alpha Fly, or just get so much more pop for the same effort. So, yeah, that was encouraging. Like obviously 3:03 is not like my threshold pace, but I remember looking down on the last rep and there was like a turn in it. So I'm not sure how accurate it was, but gave me confidence that I was running 3:03s without feeling like I was in fifth gear. I'm like, oh, this is hopefully around my race pace for 10K, and it's at the back end of a 10K session, and it felt okay. So, yeah, I was really happy with how that went.
Yeah, because just on that, your heart rate doesn't go that high when the pace gets quicker. I'm just looking at it now. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, so, and because I look back at a few of my recent Friday sessions where we train at the same spot, and I did a 25-minute tempo in the Zebras a few weeks before, and I averaged like 164 or 165 for that 25 minutes at 3:18s, I think it was. So, but those shoes, I think the Alpha Fly, the only thing with the Alpha Flies is I haven't used them that much since Gold Coast last year. And I reckon it's a shoe that if you're going to race in, I think you need to train in it regularly, because it's just different. Like back in the day, you used to train in a particular pair of shoes, and then you could go to any racing flat and there wasn't a real big adjustment. Whereas I feel like a shoe like the Alpha Fly is so different to normal running shoes that you almost need to train in it a bit more to sort of just work out the rhythm, work out that sweet spot so it doesn't feel quite as clunky. Because if I haven't used it for a while and I chuck it on, the first half of the session, I'm trying to like work out how to run in them. So, yeah, I don't know whether you guys feel the same thing about that shoe.
Yeah, it is a bit clunky to me. And yet there is a sweet spot, more so than the other shoes out there.
Yeah.
How do you find... Have you had any, like the one thing that we get in the store is that a lot of people get blistering in their arch or just forward of their arch?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can when I first put them on, I can feel that pressure in my arch, but I have a pretty high arch, and so it's never given me any issues. Like I ran Gold Coast in it last year, and I didn't have any blisters in that area at all, which I guess is a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
I thought that was more the Alpha Fly 2 Moose.
It's both.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's definitely both. Yeah.
Heard you talking about it on Shoe Geeks.
Well, yeah. So I think that it's more prominent in the two, but it's certainly taken some victims in the one.
Yeah.
The one thing I noticed with the first few reps, I felt like because I do get this extra pop, it was almost like at times I feel like I'm overstriding, and like I know a lot of people have complained about hamstring issues like late in the marathon, and I feel like it does tend to sort of force you to overstride a little bit, but then I sort of forced myself to just cut my stride a little bit shorter, because I found that if you do that, you seem to hit that sweet spot a bit better, because you obviously, you're more hitting on the forefoot as opposed to landing right out on your heel. So it was interesting just playing around throughout the session, and definitely as the session got longer, I felt more comfortable in them. So, it's a shoe that I'll probably try and train in a little bit more. But it's also a shoe that I like to just save for races or sessions where, like, psychologically I know that when I put it on, I'm going to be running 3 or 4 seconds a K faster than I do in another shoe. Like you used to back in the day, where you'd have a training shoe and then you put these racing flats on and you're like, oh, I'm definitely going to run faster in these things. So anyway, that was Friday morning. Yeah, Mulligans that afternoon, 4:18s for 7.5K. Saturday, hour in the morning, 4:17s, and then did treadmill that afternoon for 30 minutes at 5-minute Ks. And then, met up with Rob and Adrian for a run yesterday morning through Mulligans. It was like pretty wet, some pretty deep puddles, and did 25 or just over 25K at 4:17. So that felt really enjoyable. The only thing is, like, I've got this trend now where if I do a few days of running in the rain, on the trails, through puddles, I think my tib ant does get flared up a little bit, and I'm not sure whether it's because my shoes end up like so heavy, and obviously then there's that extra weight that you're constantly like, dorsiflexing your foot, or whether often when you're running through puddles, you can't see the bottom of it, and so you're a little bit more unstable when you land, or those muscles are having to work a little bit harder. But it's just been a common thing that I've noticed any time I've run in the rain or through puddles, my tib ant does flare up a little bit. Even though I didn't feel it at all during yesterday's run, I felt it just on this morning's run. So anyway, it was a week of 154K, and race week this week.
It's a good week.
Another big one.
It's been a good 5 or 6 weeks. Moose, what's he going to run? Last 6-minute effort in that workout at 3:03s with a U-turn at the end of a workout without a taper. It's got to be sub 30.
It's not sub 30.
No, come on, Brady.
I ran some sub 30 last year, and I think the work he's put in is better than what I've done. If you don't run sub 30 off this build up,
I'm not running the thing that I'm going to struggle with is I said this last week. It's a really small window for me between cooking it and that sweet spot. Like, if I do too many Ks at like 3 minutes or like slightly faster, I'll get to like 6 or 7K, a bit like last year, and go, I'm done. Whereas if I do maybe a few K at more like 3:05s, like, yes, I'm not going to break 30 minutes off that, but hopefully I can wind it up. But the problem is I don't have that real... Like, I can't kick down to running, multiple Ks at 255s. So if I run a few reps, if I run a few Ks at 3:05s, I can probably only, get down to sort of 3-minute Ks for the last few Ks if I'm still feeling pretty good. But anyway, Moose, you can give your prediction.
The people are excited, Moose. They haven't seen this kind of like training from him for years.
Yeah. Well, the course now, it's no longer a short course. So you've got to counter that into your prediction, Brady. I'm thinking maybe like 30-22.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
That's what, 3:02s.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's a pretty good run. How old are you again, Croaks? Like 42?
I'm almost 43.
Yeah. Shit, I'd love doing that at 43.
Maybe 30. I didn't realise you were that old. Maybe 30-42.
I'd take that too, Moose. Like, so would I. The encouraging thing is, like, other than how I'm feeling like right now, like, my body has been really good the last 5 weeks. I feel like I'm in a really good spot to progress to, getting into marathon sort of shape. And like Friday's session, like averaging 3:16s for, 10.5K, I'm like, maybe like running 3:20s for a long period of time at a more, consistent sort of effort, not running, 6 minutes at sub 3:10s, like, is doable, especially given how strong I'm feeling at the moment. It's just that 10K is probably at the shorter end of, my capabilities now, because, sub 3 minute Ks feels fast, but I feel like I can probably hold 3:06s for quite a while.
There's the gears. Yeah. You're running out of gears, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But top gear can handle a bit more distance, but there is nowhere to go. Even like if you feel good at 8K, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, well, that's it. I can probably, maybe, if I'm feeling really good, maybe run 255s for the last 2K, but I have to be feeling like pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Moose is a 3:48 1,500 metre guy.
Yeah, when I was 24.
There's room to move. Don't worry about that. Remember the year he nearly beat Benny St. Lawrence coming into the stadium?
He's fucking 44 years old.
People are sleeping on how good of a runner this bloke is. He's trying to like dodge it. He's downplaying it now. Watch what happens on Saturday morning. I know we will. I'm going 29:15.
29:15.
Zach is going to do a guessing competition. Well, I ran 24. I ran 29:25, I think, last year, and I reckon you're fitter than I was. Simple maths.
I'm going to run like a 30-second.
You've got way more talent than I do too. Simple maths.
Same course?
No, I was at Launceston. Sydney's quicker than Launceston, I reckon. But yeah, we're doing a guessing comp. I know Zach has got something in the works to guess Croaks' time, so I'll put mine out there.
I'll put a case on that, Brady, that I don't run 29:15.
You can't bet against yourself, Croaks.
Hey, I'll bet with you though.
I've already got a side bet with you, an off-air one though. on Croaks' performance, remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm happy to double down on that.
No.
You can't talk this game about sub 30 and not back it up.
I've put it out there. I'm backing it up. That's my prediction.
Sub 30, slab. If he goes sub 30, you buy me a slab.
I buy you a slab of beer.
Yeah.
Not Red Bull.
If you buy me a slab of beer, if he goes sub 30...
If the weather's good, the field's good.
No. Fuck.
You've got to see the weather. I reckon he'll run 29.15. Put it that way.
Sub 30.
I'll lose a slab on you every time.
You are such a
Mate,
tight
I paid up all the times. I'm not a tight ass.
Never had a beer from you.
Bullshit.
How many times have I run a kilometre? So that's basically 255s. How many Ks have I run in 255?
Get a bit of white line fever about your Croaks. When you get on, if you can run 303s in like Canberra around the lake solo in a workout, that's going to feel like 253s on Saturday. Same effort.
Run the PB listeners are just like
races are different.
Throwing their memberships out right now, thinking this is their head coach.
Yeah. I'm not the head coach. I'm just saying I've got a lot of faith in this guy. If you haven't got confidence, Croaks, don't bother going.
Well, unlike you at Valencia, Brady, I'm not getting caught up in this hype and going out at 255s. I'm going to go out more at the 303s to 305s and wind it down. Hopefully.
Don't go there, Brad. Don't go back to Valencia.
Don't think I didn't run any 255s at Valencia.
No, but it was this hype of everyone going, oh, Brady, you're going to run 215, and like you sort of started to then get on the start line going, yeah, I'm going to run 215. And it's the same thing. It's like if I let you get in my head going, yeah, I can run 29.15. What am I going to do on the start line? I'm going to go out at 255.
Yeah, do it. Just have a go, Croaks. That's just all the people want. Just people having a go in life.
I did it last year. I went out at 3-minute Ks and I got to about 8K and I went, oh, should have gone out at 303s.
Yeah, if the pace is on, just jump on it. You only live once, mate. You're 43.
Anyway, I'm happy with my shape, as Christian would say.
All right, he's happy. It's up and about. Moose, tell us about your week. Good. Shape is good. Proof will be in the pudding.
I actually had a great week. Not in workouts, but I had my biggest week in volume for ages. I'm going to say since probably February last year. So maybe that contributed to why I'm sitting here with a heat pack on. But it was pretty it's hard for me to blame mileage and training when I get this, even when I'm not running. So I'm not going to. Monday morning, got out for 10 clicks just around Anglesea, and then 8.5 in the afternoon, and I got in the drink in the afternoon. So walked down the beach in the Arvo and had a little swim. The ocean's cooling down, so you get that nice blue doctor effect. You don't get that when the water's warm at all. Gives you nothing. Whereas when it's cold and you get like that rush of I know, it's like a little bit of shock. It's like a little bit of parasympathetic. Is it the parasympathetic nervous system that kicks in when you're like fight or flight? Is that the right one?
Yeah.
You blokes know that? You teach that?
Know, no.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Don't teach that to grade 4s.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, Moose.
Yeah, so your body just goes, oh shit, what's happening?
Oh no, it's a sympathetic nervous system drives the fight or flight response.
All right, yeah. I got that one wrong. But yeah, it feels bloody good. I got to do it more often. It's better when it gets colder. We actually had a workout because it was Anzac Day, like you mentioned. Croaks Tuesday afternoon ran a workout in the Arvo, and normally I'm a big fan of the Arvo workouts. It just feels like I can get the paces higher with lower heart rates.
Why'd you do that though? When it's a public holiday, wouldn't everyone want to just get it over and done with and have the day to go and play 2-up and drink and watch footy?
No, well, we raced on Saturday Arvo, and then had a decent long run on Sunday. So if I can push recovery, I always think it's too tight of a turnaround to Tuesday morning anyway. So if we get another extra 8 hours running in the Arvo, I want that. I want to take that. So I did, and I'm not drinking piss during the middle of the day anymore. That's just not what I do. So Anzac Day, it's not a piss up for me. So I don't watch those two fuckwit football teams play up.
Did you hear what happened in that footy game though?
Nah.
Oh, did you see it, Croaks?
No, I went for a run.
Yeah.
Second run.
Collingwood 28 points down 3/4 time. Come home. Won it.
Yeah. See, no one wants to watch that. No one wants to watch
Unbelievable scenes.
See, I was thinking, Brady, the other day.
It's a running podcast, Moose, if you want to move on. Don't have to talk about Collingwood if you don't want.
We're going to go back to Bendigo bats. You've set Bendigo bats up like you follow Collingwood. Like a really, really unlikable team.
Everyone's second favourite team, isn't that what they say about Collingwood at the moment?
And so...
Most enjoyable team to watch. I agree. The Bendigo Bats comparison is correct.
When Collingwood lose, everyone celebrates. And you've set that up for Bendigo.
I think that's back in the day, Collingwood. I think everyone likes Collingwood these days.
No,
they're just such an entertaining team. New coach, new leadership.
What Collingwood people do, though, and then they lose and then they get all shirty with everyone because suddenly their cockiness has just been thumped back to the ground. That's what Bendigo is, and it's because of your influence.
Rightio.
See, Bendigo is like the Collingwood Magpies of AV cross country.
Most followed, most successful. Yeah, it has a few comparisons, similarities. Big dogs,
most arrogant, cockiest, bogan supporters. We had 8 by 1200, so I wanted a pretty easy threshold workout. This was the idea. We had a group, so in the group I was with Hutchie and Matt Gunther, and then there was a second group as well, which was Cam Smith, Sammy Williams was there, and Doki for a 1 rep maybe. So it was kind of warm. Temperature here 25 degrees. That's solid compared to what we've been training in like the last 2 months. And so I think we went out a bit hard for me anyway. So 310 pace we started at, which was 76s. And I thought, this is a bit rough for threshold effort. And then it kind of only really got harder for me. So first one was 346, 350, 348, 350, 348, 354, 55, 52. Now that's like okay, but my heart rate just got higher and higher. And so even like average heart rate or max heart rate's probably a little bit more relevant when you're looking at reps this short. So over only less than 4 minutes, you don't really get a chance to get your heart rate up like that high to look at an average. So if you look at my heart rates, you can kind of see that they go up over threshold and climb even more, which is a sign that they weren't really at threshold. It's hard when you're in a group like that and there's only 3 of you in the group. Like my only option is to let them go, which I did after 6 reps when I knew it was a bit hard. I should have probably dropped back earlier than that. I had my lactate meter there and I took readings after reps 2, 4, 6 and 8, and I didn't set it up properly beforehand, and I only had 60 seconds rest between the reps. So it was a real kind of rush to get a strip in, to prick the finger, to clean it off, to take the reading. And in the end, I rushed it. Most of them were too rushed, and I didn't really clean the finger well enough. And I find I've never really had good readings from the finger. They've always been contaminated, like with too sweaty. So normally if I'm testing someone, I use the earlobe, and that seems way more accurate. But you can't really do that to yourself. So I was going off my finger, and only the last one, when I took my time, I got a reading of 2.8. And that suggests like I was in the right kind of area, but it was also maybe a little too long after the finish of the rep to get a good result. So I wasted a bit of money on the strips there. Didn't really offer me anything at all. And the workout was probably not to its purpose. So I left that a bit disappointed because I didn't really run what I wanted to, and I should have probably kept check of my heart rate rather than run with the group. So yeah, a bit of a fail, really. Next day, jogged 10.5k and then 8 in the Arvo. So increasing a bit of mileage this week, sort of minimum, maybe 16, 18K. Got out for about 16 on Thursday morning. Good loop this, if you're ever in Anglesey, follow that. And then did a workout on Friday morning. Wanted a bit more thresh, but I also wanted to tick the legs over. So I did a bit of a combination. 2 sets of 8 minutes at heart rate threshold, and then 3 by a minute solid. And there was 90 seconds after the threshold, and then 60 seconds between the repeats. So this wasn't like a super hard workout. Really, it was only 16 minutes total at thresh and 6 minutes total at solid. I didn't really feel great from the moment that I started, even though, my heart rate, the first rep, average 156, pace was 322s. It's not the fastest place to run, but I would be hoping my threshold pace would be faster than that after all the training I've been doing. Then the ons, 254, 254, 257. Jog for like 90 seconds. Jog for a minute, sorry. And then 8 minutes, again 320, but my heart rate got a fair bit higher on this one. Then 306, 250, 253. And I kind of fucked it. Like, I set this workout up in my Garmin. It was the first workout I've done setting it up on Garmin Connect, and the workout didn't finish. So the last rep just kept going. So in the end, I've run 97 seconds, and I think I was supposed to have finished that. So 1 rep, 2 rep. Yeah. So I'd supposed to have been done by then, but it didn't shut off on my watch, so I kept running. So that was stupid, but I was hoping the watch might tell me to stop running, but didn't. You guys, both got Coros, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. The workout ends after you. If you're doing a workout preset in your watch, the Coros ends the workout for you.
Yeah.
Good. I like that. Whereas
my Garmin used to, though.
Yeah, so did mine, but this didn't. This just kept going. I didn't think I saw anything.
Maybe go back and check the session you set in. Maybe you've had it I reckon going into cool down or something, or open-ended. Oh,
the last
rep. Yeah.
Or was that your last minute, like between the reps? You know what I mean? You had a minute on, minute off.
I know, but I've checked it several times because
it still would have lapped it, wouldn't it?
Well, see, I had to stop my watch for my Friday session of 6 minute reps because I just set it up as an interval session of 6 minute reps with 1 minute recovery. And so I don't, I stop my session after the last 6 minute rep. I don't worry about the last 1 minute jog. So I had to stop it because, it was going to keep going for another minute.
That's fair. I do that too. Yeah. There's no point counting that extra minute in your workout.
Cooks your average for Strava too.
Yeah.
Well, especially when it's like if it's a float, you include it, but when it's like recover, like it's to basically do whatever you want to do between the reps. There's no point.
Don't know about that. If you got say you got 3 by 5K with a K float, you floating the K at the end.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's different though because that's a big part of this. Like that's a big part of the session. Like another K versus like a minute standing around recovery between reps. Yeah.
I don't know though. You just said.
But I would probably design the session so that I finish on the rep and don't have the 1K float at the end, because the only sessions that I've always finished on the float have been those shorter ones like the monofartlek where that last 30-second float because of the intensity you're working at. 15s. Well, I actually do 6 by 30s. Instead of, I don't do the 15s.
So you don't do monofartlek?
I don't, yeah.
Too good for monofartlek.
Yeah. I just knows better than mono, doesn't he?
I just got to the point where I'm like, why am I surging for 15 seconds? So I just did 6 by 30s. Actually, I think we used to do that with Ken Green's squad in Sydney. I think that's the reason I did it, because they used to do it that way.
That's probably smarter than just surging for the whole last 2 minutes like some people do.
Yeah, but that's different to a 1K float at the end of a longer session, I think. But
I finished monos off like that as well. 100% finished mono. And I finished deep quarters off too, like that.
I start with the float. For deep
I know
quarters.
People change it, but I don't start with the float. I do it as it's planned. I'm a traditionalist. I don't think he used to start with a float, did he?
I reckon he did.
Oh. We've had this chat before.
Yeah, I reckon we. Well,
have we had it with Deke?
No, I'll ask him. Next time I see him, I'll ask him.
Next time you're cooking a barbecue at his place, Croaks, can you ask him?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to know the answer to that. Does he start with a float? That's probably... Someone get in his DMs, find out.
I reckon he did. I think he did.
I think we've had this conversation, and my argument was they don't start with a float at Falls Creek, and that has to be the traditional way, but then that was wrong. But I think they did start with the float.
Yeah, but I've seen like Dick Telford's guys do it, and like when I was with Dick doing it, and like Sean Crichton, when he was coaching me, we did it that way. And like Dick and Sean have been around Dick for a long time.
With the float first.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'd like to find. I'd like clarification on that. Yeah.
All right, I'll get it for you.
Thanks. 10K next morning. I had Pia this day, so I got out, then looked after her for the day, and then dropped her at my mum's while I ran another 8K. And then that was Saturday, so Sunday morning, 32K. Decent around town. I'm not sure what the elevation was. Let me have a look. 2 hours 22, 428s, 553. That's pretty good. Certainly wasn't our hilliest route, but have a look. Get on there. Click on here, Brady. You'll be shocked at this.
Yeah, I'm on there. K5?
No. What was K5?
523.
That was up 53.
Oh, yeah, that was decent. But have a look at the kilometre, like 19. Have a look at the grade of that hill.
K19, you went down 15 metres.
Oh, no. Look at that.
20th K.
Oh, 58.
Yeah. Have a look at how steep that hill is.
That's right? That's an Andy Buchanan special. Remember when he filled in that week, Moose, and we gave him shit about like going up hills that steep?
33% at one stage there.
33%. That's unbelievable. So yeah, we went up there. It was fucked.
Are you just like hands on knees up there? Like
I was so close to walking. So we were going at like 8-minute pace or something, and I look around and I'm like, I really want to see someone else walk right now. It won't be me, but I wanted to. And I look back, and Liam Hanrahan, who's the one that's dropped off the back, he's so close to walking, but he didn't.
But hills like that, you could almost power walk up as fast as you could run up them.
You could, but you would cop shit for the next 12 months at least. So no one would ever do that. Even in a race, you wouldn't do it if someone caught you. But yeah, anyway, it was a good run. I felt good. I especially felt good towards the end. And I've been taking gels lately, and it's been keeping my heart rate down towards the end of these long runs. So I've been going at a gel every 8K. So I did 3 gels in this run, and I'm getting a bit sick of the Morton caffeines. Like, I checked my gel stash, and that's all I had. They expired in 2021. I'm just such a tight ass. I'm going through all these expired gels now. And I had this caffeine one. I'm like, oh, she's a bit bitter. So I swapped it out for a flavoured one from Toby, and yeah, it's good to have a bit of flavour late in the run.
Why so long when you're racing this weekend, Moose?
Oh, I don't care about the race. This is the thing about AV cross country. There's so many races that if you taper in and then recover out, you're just never training properly.
Yeah, so, but the old footy analogy, like your coach is not going to be real happy if you rock up on game day and you're cooked.
Your teammates, eh?
Yeah.
I'm getting out there. I'm having a crack. I'm going to race to the best of my ability. But if I'm like Sean Crichton, your boy, every week over 35K. How many weeks over 35K? 52 weeks.
Yeah, I copped shit bloody last year for doing 30K the week before Sydney 10.
Mate, you had that lined up.
That was your A race, though.
You can't do that if you're in AV cross country. You never train. You run 50K a week every week.
I feel with AV cross country too, if you're rocking up, like, as long as you're there, that's like a win for starters. Like, kind of like you spoke about last week, people not rocking up.
Yeah, I'll be out smashing myself. No, I won't be. I won't be running at all with my back. I'll be fucked. I'll be volunteering. But I'll still have a crack. Don't turn this on me, Croaks.
No. I like your other point, Moose, about the gels and stuff, because I reckon like the fueling is more important than what people think. And like I know, like I went through phases there where I was trying to like do stuff fasted. But even like for my sessions, the last 2 Fridays, I've taken a gel after my warm up, like before I change my shoes and stuff, because I figure it's one thing I've actually been doing this year, given I've been running like 155K. Certain days of the week, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to eat whatever I want and like make a conscious effort to eat probably more than what I normally would, just so that I'm always fueled and so I don't go out on those second runs and feel lightheaded. And I don't know whether it's helped my sessions in the morning by having that gel beforehand as well, because I still eat toast and coffee before the session, but I just have that as a top up before starting.
Yeah, it's I think we've moved on from that old school thing about not eating on long runs. And if you listen to the experts in the field, the dietitians, the sports dietitians, they'll tell you every day, like, taking carbohydrate. Like the extreme ones will tell you to go out for have carbohydrate on your hour-long runs. Yeah. And it might not be much, but you should be eating before your hour run and then like considering having something during the run. And so when you get into 2 hour 30 territory, you should be having I'm really only having.
How many gels did you say you had?
I had 3 gels and so 50 grams. So it was 72 grams of carbohydrate I had over 2.5 hours. And so that's not much. That's like half the protocol that I would have in racing. So that's still probably not enough for these runs. But it's just like I'm coming from the culture of not having anything on those runs. Yeah. So I'm working my way into it. And that's just how that's how the professional kind of people are talking about it, the AIS and stuff. They're advising to be on the carbs for these workouts. Or these long runs, like big time on the carbs.
Plus, it just adds to calories that you need throughout the day. Like if you're having it on the long run, then you're not going to be quite as depleted. Because I thought it was really interesting, like Shoe Geeks, when I heard that Tommy was trying to like drop weight. Like somebody at his level, I'm like, wow, you know.
I'd never heard anyone speak like that before, though. Like I get the whole like disordered eating, like, you know, you're rushed, you got to get to work after your workout, you don't have time, like you just quickly grab something, you know, a muesli bar before you go to work. But I hadn't heard anyone kind of talk about intentionally trying to cut the calories that way. Like I definitely have been, I've fallen for that like disordered eating in the past, just not being organised, and you know you should be getting more calories in and you're not. But I hadn't heard any, you know, elite Australian distance runners say they were trying to cut the calories out to drop weight.
It's a bit of a taboo topic.
Yeah, which is why he spoke about it pretty freely too. And you pulled him up on it he was kind of talking just willy-nilly about it, and then you kind of questioned him, which I thought was good.
Well, it is like not really talked about in the running world. It's one of those things where, and he mentions it, he's like, we know that less weight means more efficient. And I think in our world, we associate leanness and thinness with elite performance, but it's not the goal. It's a side effect of a lot of training, and that's where I think he's kind of gone wrong. Like he's tried to make it the goal. He's like actively trying to lose weight, whereas it should come if there is weight to lose, and sometimes there is. Sometimes you've come off a stress fracture or whatever, and you've put on weight. Like you're not at a good weight to run well.
I also think there's a power like component to it as well. So, for example, when I'm not running that well, I might be like a kilo lighter, but that's largely, and like Viv makes an observation, like when I'm running well and I'm doing like my strides and I'm doing my home gym, she goes, like, you actually have a bit of an ass now. And so because I'm obviously using my glutes and my glutes are getting a little bit bigger, which if that's happening, then I'm probably going to be putting on a little bit of weight through there, which actually helps my running compared to when I don't have an ass.
You put on weight when you have a calorie when you're taking on more calories than you're burning. That's the only time that you can really put on weight.
Yeah, but if you've got more muscle mass as well, you're going to have a little bit more. You're going to have a little bit more weight to you.
Well, you'll be leaner, and you might feel like your muscles are more pronounced.
Yeah.
But no, like you can't put on weight running 100-mile weeks and not going to the gym and not having calorie. Like you can run 100-mile weeks if you're eating more calories than you're burning. You can put on weight. But most people can't do that. That's an extreme amount of calories.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll whistle through my week, fellas. Monday, 14K, 4:43s. I was a bit sore after Jarryd Park. A few of those DOMs hit me on Monday, so I took it pretty easy. 7K in the afternoon at 4:42s. Tuesday, Anzac Day, did a longer workout. Did 6K, 4K, 2x2K, 1K, all off 2 minutes jog between. Averaged around 3:18 pace. Just trying to really do like a longer workout during the week now. Something that's just not going to trigger the hammy, flare that up. And yeah, I reckon Jarryd Park brought me up a bit because after those DOMs settled down, I kind of felt pretty fit in this workout, which was a good sign. And trying to get some longer work done because Gold Coast Marathon's only 9 weeks away when I finish this weekly recap. So it's going to come around pretty quick. Got out for 7K in the afternoon, 4:28 pace. Wednesday did 11K in the morning at 4:39s and then 8K in the afternoon at 4:37s. I think you gave me this idea, Moose, to split that, like on your very easy days, do it as kind of like 2 by, 40 minutes instead of going for the 70 and then like the 30. So I'm just kind of playing around with that at the moment if I'm going to make the Tuesdays a bit bigger. And it does work pretty well. Like you're not as cooked while you're at work for the day. So that kind of worked all right. Then on the Thursday, I got this from you, Croaks, the old like just trying to roll some 4-minute pace. So I did 18K at 4:05s. It's good. Time goes pretty quick when you're rolling at that pace. So yeah, kind of enjoyed that. And then on Thursday afternoon after work, I got into the gym for the first time, which was good. I was the only one in there, so I didn't have to see any gym bros making me feel super skinny. The old distance runner in the gym. Didn't do much. Like, I just took it pretty easy first up because I knew whatever I was going to do was going to hurt me, which it did. Friday morning was sore everywhere. Like, even sore, like, just where the bar was kind of leaning on my back when I was doing back squats and stuff. I didn't even have any weight on the bar, boys. I was just doing back squats just with a bar to start off with. I don't know how much that thing weighs, but it kind of felt like it was pretty heavy.
20 kilos.
Is it 20 kilos, the bar?
Yeah, well, there's different ones. I think the standard one's generally like 20 kilos.
Is it really 20 kilos?
Yeah.
Okay.
The proper ones are.
They do have lighter ones, but yeah.
That makes sense. It's pretty heavy. I was planning to do a bit of a workout on Friday morning. I warmed up and felt okay, but I was just going to do some 1-minute reps, but I was just like, I couldn't get down to like 3:10 pace. My legs were just sore in all different places, which I knew they were going to be. And I think it's a bit of that, like when you start in the gym, you got to sacrifice something. And for me, maybe it's just like a workout or two in the next couple of weeks until my body adapts and I can kind of handle it. And looking at the like long-term approach, not, the short term of having kind of a nice week looking pretty. Saturday, I did my long run. I'm going to try and work on a Saturday long run, Tuesday longer workout for the next like 8 or 9 weeks leading into Gold Coast, just because it's kind of just, timetabling and scheduling. It makes it hard. The other 4 work days, or the days during the week, I have to kind of be home at 7:30, so it kind of makes it hard to do anything of substance other than on the Tuesday when I don't have to be home early. So I'm going to load the Tuesday and then I'm going to load the Saturday, which just gives me that extra day recovery between the Saturday and the following Tuesday. So that's why the long run's gone to the Saturday. Went to this place I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, Karop, about 40 minutes drive from Echuca. Beautiful spot, parked next to this massive lake called Lake Cooper. Mapped out a bit of a loop, which was 33k. Wanted to kind of do it I kind of ran, 14k flat first before I got to the hilly section, and then kind of went up one big hill, couple of rollers after that, and then it was kind of downhill and flat. So I think next time when I go there, I'll drive straight to the hilly section, because I did get 260 metres, I think, of elevation in, but it was all over about like 13k. So I think it's better that I go to that 13k next time and just do that loop a couple of times to try and get those, that elevation close to 500. Ran past a historical marker, which was the Colburn Community Well, which I thought was really weird. I was just out the middle of nowhere, and then there was just this sign, and then there was like this old community well sign, and then a few bits of wood there, which I thought was completely random. And then I was a bit sick afterwards. You know, when you get like kind of the hot and cold sweats, when I got back to my car, it was just freezing cold and had like goosebumps and had the heater blare on the way home, and then I was too hot, and then pretty much spent the rest of the day Saturday on the couch in all sorts. Terrible sleep Saturday night, just sweating up a storm, changing clothes that have drenched, all that kind of good stuff. And then Sunday I got out for a 7k double. And then I actually went to the gym Sunday night, put Hudson to bed, and then just went and did a bit of a gym routine, what I did on the Thursday again. And that was a good week, 163k, 2 gym sessions, nothing special, but hopefully building a bit of strength there. Leading into Albert Park 10k this week, which should be a good indication of where my fitness is at, because I think Jells Park kind of surprised me a bit, and this will give me some good data just to see how I'm exactly going over 10k.
28.30, I reckon. Then if I'm running 29.15, I got you at 28.30.
You're fitter than me. You've done way better stuff than me over the last month.
How does your Tuesdays, Saturdays work with AV? So the weeks that you have to race on a Saturday, for example, do you then just go long run Sunday and then long session Tuesday?
Yeah, and I think like the long run, similar to what I did last week, like I did Jells Park on the Saturday, but I'll probably only do like two and a 2:10 kind of thing. Like, and there's not, like I'm saying there's 9 weeks to go, but I think there's 3 AV races in there, and like you're not going to do much the weekend before. So I'm kind of down to four weekends of kind of like long run marathon specific. You know, I want to start getting workouts in those long runs as well. So it's going to be a different build up, that's for sure. But we'll see how it goes. I think if I can hit a good Tuesday and a good Saturday for 7 or 8 weeks, maybe I'm not, fitness like I was leading into Valencia, but this marathon's never been about like throwing the absolute kitchen sink at it either. And it might be a good thing going in not having a build up that's massive in a way, going a bit underdone than overdone.
Yeah, I agree. Even mentally, I think you'll go in going, I'm not expecting too much from this because I haven't done the full marathon prep. Yeah. And you might actually surprise yourself. And
something about like not traveling overseas and like aiming for that huge breakthrough one, and, throwing heaps of money at the flights and accommodation and all that kind of other stuff. This is really very much like a, what can I do? Yeah, being a dad and working a few hours and just trying to fit the training around it kind of thing. But anyway, see what happens.
A few hours.
Oh, mate, I've taken on this new job I took on this year had a massive impact on my running compared to what I was doing the last couple of years. So I just think like the second child obviously makes things harder, and then Carly's going back to work, and the running for me is very much on the. I was thinking the other day, just maybe coast through 2023 and just, try to stay injury free and then build on it in the next couple of years and make some different decisions that may free up running time a bit. Because I do feel like it's very much like just fit in as much jogging as you can on the days that aren't Tuesday and Saturday, when you can kind of prioritise running a bit.
Go back to your old job.
That's what I'll be doing, I think. I think I'll be doing that, a bit more flexibility. Just the getting everything done by 7:30 kills me. That's like you feel like you're a bit time locked. So yeah, and I'm not afraid to get up early, but it's dark, and unless I start doing stuff on the treadmill, that's one option. But anyway, we'll see what happens, boys. Proof will be in the pudding in 9 weeks' time.
Head to the Gold Coast for a fast, flat race this July. Whether you're looking for a personal best time or a winter break with the family, the Gold Coast Marathon on the 1st and 2nd July has it all. The weekend of events includes a distance for everyone: the Gold Coast Marathon, CPL Wheelchair Marathon, ASICS Half Marathon, Southern Cross University 10K, CPL Wheelchair 10K, Gold Coast Airport 5K, and the Health and Wellbeing Queensland 2 and 4 kilometre junior dash. It's fast, it's flat, and it's scenic. Enter now at goldcoastmarathon.com.au.
Let's thanks to Patreon supporters. Croaks, who you got?
I've got Dan Garner this week, and this info that I'm about to read out has come from his mate Andrew. So he's a white-collar school teacher and one of the big dogs of the Horsham scene, who capped a great world cross-country trip by banging beers back with Liam Adams and his mate John Hullen. He's got PBs of 17:28, 18:41, which was at the Gold Coast 2022 half marathon, and 3:10 for the marathon, which he did in Singapore last year. He's got some work to do to bring that marathon time down, as it's a definite outlier with those results. So thanks for your support, Dan, and thanks to Andrew for that info.
Good on you, Dan. Who you got, Moose?
I've got Ole Anders Siversen. Anders Siversen from Oslo, Norway. Another Norwegian patron. Love that. PBs of 18:20, 37:19, 82:46 at the 2022 Copenhagen half, and a 2:59 at 2021 Rotterdam. Nothing on Strava between November and the start of April. So perhaps an injury in there. Maybe he's just turning the volume down a little bit.
Yeah, lessening the noise.
Yeah. Pretty sure he's a store manager at Lobbabet, which is a running store. I had a little look at this before.
Yeah, Shoe Dog.
Pretty good, except it's not in English, so can't read anything. Perhaps they'll think about that next time they decide to make a website.
I reckon they've got that, that podcast that Christian talks about, and there's a guy on there called Jesus, and he's got the massive long hair, and they had Cam Evans on.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
on their
Is that him?
That's him on the website there, isn't it, with the long hair?
He's from Sweden, though.
Yeah, well, this website is .se. That'd be Sweden.
Well, I think it's a Swedish-based shoe company, but they obviously have stores in Norway.
Yeah, that's that guy. He's a good runner too. I reckon he's like a 2:15 guy.
So I'm on their website, and he's got a pair of overalls on. Like,
he's a real hipster, that bloke. Isn't he the coolest bloke you've ever seen? Put a picture.
They're like old school painting overalls that he's wearing in the shoe store.
Yeah, he looks good.
Tell you what, if anyone in my staff rocked up wearing overalls,
wouldn't mind seeing that from you, to be honest.
I'm telling them to get changed straight away.
No,
hey,
like
question for you: Swedish and Norwegian, same language? Different.
I'm going to say different.
I'm going to say different too, because I watched the was it the Netflix drama miniseries / documentary on the creation of Spotify, and I reckon they were talking. It was in dub, but I reckon they were talking a Swedish language, not Norwegian.
Wouldn't you just think you'd make the same language?
Nah, mate.
If you're that close together.
Nah, culture.
What makes it so difficult?
Yeah, come on, mate. That's the whole world. I'm going to thank Ian Kehoe. He lives in Mexico City. We're going all over the world today, fellas. 5K PB 16:39 at the 2020 Chase the Moon 5K, held at Queen Elizabeth Park, Olympic Park. That's in England. Yeah, Krogs?
Yep.
Because according to his Power of 10 profile, he has other PBs, a 35:04 for 10K, 78:18 for the half marathon, and 2:42 for the marathon. According to his LinkedIn, in 2022, he relocated to Mexico to escape the corporate world to pursue unrealistic running ambitions. This is what we need to do, boys.
Yeah.
Just say no
How are
to
you
them.
affording that, though? How do you afford that?
Well, listen, before that, he was the head of process innovation at the Shearman and Sterling Group, which is a global law firm. So you got to get a good job, Moose, that pays you heaps, and just do it for a few years, and then you just live off that for the next 20 and move to Mexico.
You still run out of money pretty quick, I reckon.
I reckon if you had invested okay, you'd be right, wouldn't you? Just live off the dividends and stuff, the capital growth.
I love hearing stories like that, though. Guys just going all in. You go, you know what? Only live once.
Yeah.
I'm going to pursue running and... Yeah, actually,
I only live once. I'm going to go out in 29:15 pace at my next 10K race.
That reminds me, Moose. Before I knew you, I remember reading an article that you wrote for, I think it was Runner's Tribe.
There we go.
Do you remember that one about how, it was
You had an article, Moose, for Runners Tribe.
Yeah, it was about the whole, how much he, yeah, he's not, a professional. He has to get up and train in the morning. It's dark, but like absolutely loves it. Something along those lines.
Yeah,
do
I
you remember that article?
I do remember. Yeah, living in Geelong, we're talking about our knocking off work at 5:30, get down the track, it's pitch black already, doing workouts with the group, and then get home at 8:30 at night, and it's like, I'm done. Time to go to bed. Next day, wake up, double. I remember that.
And I remember you closed off with something like, I wouldn't change it for the world, or something like that.
It's real Liam Adams vibes, I reckon, from you.
Fuck, you got a good memory.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a good memory. That stuff sounded hard at the time, but that would be the dream now. Like pre-kids, I'd love doing afternoon workouts.
Oh,
I'm not sure what it's like at your place, but that 5 to 7 p.m. at our place is just mayhem.
Yeah, I get a leave pass on a Tuesday to go and train with the group.
Yeah. Still, you got to have the energy, though, to do it. Anyway, let's talk about some running news. Run the 10, I'll go there first. Your boy Croaks, Jye Edwards, got the win. He's back racing. Haven't seen him for a while. He won in a time of 10:23. Matt Clarke was second in 10:26. Archie Noakes, the junior from Essendon, also had a good world cross-country, Archie. He ran at 10:31. What all that means is Craig Mottram's record of 10:08 is still safe, but good to see Jye out there. Didn't see much. They kind of have a camera set up in the start and finish and at the top of the hill. So you kind of see him go past one camera, then you see him at the finish line. So not sure how it panned out, but Jye was winning at the top of the hill and then obviously winning at the end there. The women's race, Jess Hull, she got the win and broke the record. She ran 11:31. Record was 11:35 from Linden Hall. Linden was second in 11:36 and Abby Caldwell third in 11:46. So that women's field was super deep as well. It was pretty impressive to see all those ladies on the start line there. In the para race, Michael Roeger got the win there in 11:03 and Annabelle Coleman won the women's in 14:10. This event, it's growing. I've just got some notes here. I reckon it's got that real community vibe about it. Like, they seem to do a good job of getting the local celebrities involved. I saw a lot of PR around it last week in places that you don't often see people talking about running. I do have concerns though, and it's same with the 10 relays when they happen in September with the AV circuit. There's going to be a collision and someone's going to get hurt sometime here because it's still open to the public, and it's just, you watch the stream and you're just waiting for someone to get, you never want to see it, but taken out by a runner moving it. These guys are going at 2:45 pace, aren't they? The women would be 3-minute K pace.
It's 22K, 23K.
Yeah, if you're out there walking your dog, and I know they had some electric scooters going around with people in high vis just kind of in front of the runners, I'm sure warning the people that they're about to come from behind. But yeah, if you got headphones on walking your dog and, Jess Hull goes flying past you at 20K an hour and there's ever a collision, and also for them to race and be like, I've also got to get around pedestrians while I'm out here trying to do it. And a simple note to put here is name me one other sport where, elite sport, they have the general population in their sporting arena. So, it'd be interesting to see if the growth of this event gets to a stage where they actually close that significant running track in Melbourne. Thoughts, boys?
I thought it was interesting having a live stream when you literally see the runners for 20 seconds in the whole race. It's
that's what I'm more about the community thing. It's this is the elite bit's only a component of it.
Yeah.
Oh, the elite bit's it though. That's what's marketed. That's marketed all year round. Is who we got, who's coming to run. So
I'd really argue the celebrity bit is nearly the main bit. What celebrities can we get there to get some attention? Which is what you got to do.
They get some good elites there. It's a solid race.
Yeah, Jess Hull won $10,000 for breaking the record. Great money.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jess Hull's our best runner, really. She is our best distance runner. And then you've got Jye Edwards, who, he's Olympian, right? So Matt Clarke, Olympian. Archie Noakes, maybe future Olympian. Linden Hall, Olympian. Abby Caldwell, Olympian.
Yeah. And, it's good women's field. They had a lot of Olympians, world champs reps further on down that list as well.
Yep. It's interesting in the surfing world. if you go to an event like the Rip Curl Pro or at Bells Beach, you don't have the public surfing out there. But if you go to a Torquay board riders meet or Jan Juck board riders who are out there at Bells, you'll most likely have the public rock up and still probably get in the water. And so it's the level of event that dictates whether they have the power to kick others out or not, pretty much. And not, I guess this one's more about paying the money to shut down the tan. They cost a fortune. Like the fees involved in that and the permits would just be insane amounts of cash. Not sure whether they'd even let you shut down the tan, given that it's a walking path.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It's been going a few years, though. It's growing.
How are you going to shut down the tan? How are you going to shut down a walking path?
You'd have to fence the whole thing and not let people in it.
Couldn't do it.
You could fence the whole thing.
Nah, you wouldn't.
Albert Park's like a walking trail, and they close that for the Formula One.
For the Formula One? Yeah, you want to
close
it
for
off.
Weeks too, don't they? I think they're still packing it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a big cost. There was more news, though, about Jess Hull recently as well. Croak's talking about her.
Yeah, so must have been last week or the week before. She put a post on Instagram saying that she was announcing that she was leaving the United Track Club and will now be based in Australia. Obviously, she'll be spending still 6 months of the year probably over in Europe competing, but her, I guess, training base now will be here in Australia. Didn't have any other details about who was coaching her or what group she'd run with, but I thought that was interesting. Good to have her back.
Start a rumour. Where's she going to train in Australia?
Probably at home.
I reckon. Wollongong?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's got a few male runners to help her with a lot of sessions, and she made reference to that when we had her on.
Oh, yeah, putting two and two together. Moose?
Well,
any ideas?
I mean, I guess you got to... Did she mention the reason that she's leaving?
Don't think so. She was very supportive of the people that have helped her get this far.
Yeah, so
Pete, Julian and Sonia O'Sullivan, I think she name dropped in there.
Is she moving specifically for another group, or is she moving to be closer to her husband who lives in Australia, maybe, or her family who's in Wollongong?
I think she said she's still with Nike, if that helps. I'll look up the exact post now while we're talking about it.
To me, it was reading more like she's moving back to be closer to her family or to be like where her husband is based. So that's how I read that.
Yeah, I agree, Moose. I agree.
That's good. Do you want to go to some more results here? McLaren Vale Marathon. Did you see this? Riley Cox beat his brother Jacob Cox 65.39 in the half marathon to 65.40. Tara Palm got the win in the women's, 1:16.41. Indy Zamet won the marathon in 3:06.31. And David Starher won the men's in 2:44.10. Sponsor of the show a couple of weeks ago, and some fast boys and girls rocked up for some good prize money.
Yeah, I think the Cox boys were actually trying to dead heat it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I saw Jacob's Strava saying tried to dead heat it with Riley, but the clock obviously was slightly, the timing was, had Riley in front.
Yeah, that's the only thing I saw. Is there a photo of it anywhere? Was there a photo
you know
on
what
Strava?
do you know what I love here? I don't know who did these notes, but Riley Cox is spelled COCKS.
Yeah,
and his brother
Brady did this one.
Spelled COS.
Good pickup from you, Moose.
Was that a copy and paste? See, I shouldn't be doing notes. This should already be done by Croaks.
Yeah,
I don't know Brady, what I'm typing this in for.
This is Brady's stuff up. But he at least pronounced it right. He pronounced it right.
Yeah, I don't know about the marathoner that he pronounced, but
that's all you need on a podcast. You just need to pronounce things right.
Yeah, come on, mate. No one's reading the notes here.
A bit more running news. So you know how a lot of the brands have been setting up their own races. So I think Asics had one last year in Spain. Adidas, they set one up. They've been going a few years now at their headquarters in Germany. So they had a 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon for all Adidas sponsored athletes. So in the men's 10K, Sebastian Soy, he moved to 5th fastest all time on the men's 10K list with a 26.49 He beat Kibiwot Candy, who ran 26.53. In the women's 5K, Ethiopia's Medina Isa narrowly denied her compatriot Sambiri Tafiri a third consecutive women's 5K victory as she sprinted to a world under-20 best of 14.46 to beat her rival in a photo finish. So there's a couple of good runs there. And then just in the other results, the men's 5K, Bahanu Balu, he won in 13.06, beat Yomif Kajelcha, also 13.06. Women's 10K was won by Irene Jepchumba Kimais in 30.23, and the men's half was won by Tedesi Tekili in 60 minutes and 4 seconds, and the women's half was won by Batuken Welde in 67.44.
I like how they do these. It's a good way to market the shoes. Good way to get the people all in one spot. Yeah. Smash some quick times. All right, let's move on to the On Cloudmonster review. A massive thanks to On for supporting the Inside Running podcast, a shoe that was spoken about a lot last year, I think, in our weekly recaps, but the first time we've actually done a shoe review on the Cloudmonster. Moose, we're still on version 1 of the Cloudmonster, would that be correct?
Yeah, V1, haven't even seen V2 yet, so this is current and it's also future at the moment.
Okay, good. Where does it sit? That's the first question I always give the shoe dog. Like, where does it sit on the wall?
It's in
high
cushion. It's a neutral shoe. It's a long run shoe. It's a recovery day shoe. This is their most cushion shoe from the brand. It's their best shoe in my opinion. It's the shoe that I think like most runners kind of feel excited by within their range. It's got a nice little rocker. It's got a bit of toe spring. You see the Cloud Tech, which is what they call their little pods, there's just more foam above them. And you can see the way that they alternate them, like one up, one down. It's just a whole lot softer than a lot of their other product. And so it's the first time I've put one on and thought, yep, I'm running in this. I like it.
Yeah, I ran my pair last year, like, into the bin. Like, put that many Ks into them. Like, I reckon I hit 1,000 Ks in them. I absolutely loved them when they sent them to us last year. I think, did we do like a review of shoes the end of last year's episode? I reckon we did, and I reckon this was maybe my like jogging shoe of the year, the On Cloudmonster. Had a lot of fun in it, and I often think like when you've had good run results, like it's often good to think about what the workouts and stuff you were doing and how your life was kind of set up with your routines and things like that. But what are you spending a lot of time shoe wise wearing? And for me, 2022. Was a massive amount of Ks in the On Cloudmonster. I felt like it wasn't a shoe, and Croaks, I know you'll disagree with me, I couldn't get rolling in it. For me, it was really a recovery shoe and probably an easier long run shoe. Like, say, I remember vividly doing like AV races on the Saturday and then just a time on feet, easy long run on the Sunday, and the On Cloudmonster would be the shoe of choice just to get that extra cushioning. And it was really for me like a 415 to a kind of 440 jogging shoe. I'm actually getting like, just enjoying thinking about some of the runs I did in that shoe last year. Good memories with that one. Croaks?
Yeah, I disagree in terms of I felt like it's a shoe that you could really get rolling. So the first time I put this on was the week after. You get
rolling in every shoe, by the way. Yeah, so we must say that.
I've just gone back through my Strava. The first time I put it on was the week after Sydney 10. We were in Wagga. Straight out of the box for an hour, 4:02s. I'm like, I love this shoe. 2 days later, 30K at 4-minute Ks. And then when I was preparing for Gold Coast last year, when I was down the coast, I did that long run where I did close to 30K and then sort of 6K at the end. I ran 30K at 350s in this thing over like 400 meters of elevation. So this was my go-to long run shoe last year. I've been through like 2 pairs of them so far. And I just found it fun because, like, there was enough cushion there, but I liked that it was stiff enough for that pop and also a really nice rocker. I think I mentioned last week, like, the rockers are something that really agree with me and my sort of stride. So, yeah, I'm a massive fan, and I know I've spoken about it a lot before on the podcast, how much I enjoyed this shoe. And, it'll continue to be my sort of midweek long run shoe.
Yeah, great for warm-ups and cool-downs too. I used to like just putting it on and just getting a bit of that I don't know, comfort after a workout, like just a bit of softness when you're just cooling down. Moose,
Where are you, Moose? Where are you, Moose, on the can you get rolling in it?
Not in particular, nah.
You wouldn't have done too many long runs in it, would you?
No, I haven't. I've probably gone 25k in it.
Oh, really? That far?
Yeah, like I enjoy it as a shoe, but I don't love it. Like I love some other shoes. I feel like it's very reliable for me. I often put it on when I feel like I don't know, I need a safe shoe underfoot. It's pretty light for how much cushion it is. So you're looking at like 270 grams or something, which is really like in the lightweight category for high cushion shoes. And again, the upper is amazing around the front of my foot. I judge shoes now big time on the uppers and on how they fit my foot. And this thing here locks it at the heel. I like the lacing, secures the midfoot, and I like that in an 11.5, which I'm not an 11.5 in many shoes, but I fit easy into this 11.5. So just the volume makes me happy. Underneath, I feel like I'm still in just an old EVA foam, even though the pods kind of make it work well, and I do think they work well together. But this area of shoe now, I think it needs some more fun in the next version. I think we need a little bit more pop out of the foam. And if you can get that going with those pods, this shoe could be magic. I don't think it's magic yet, but I think it could be.
Okay, that's interesting. And you don't know any time scale when it may arrive? Second version?
No, haven't seen it.
Nothing?
No. Well, not yet. I mean, we're not seeing it this year.
Okay. Do all the on boys over in Boulder run in at Croaks? Is that their go-to?
Yeah.
Like Ollie and Morgan and that? Like, I know you watch all their stuff.
Yeah, I haven't for a while, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is their like long run shoe.
Gone off them. What about what do you see in store, Moose, with On? Or just because I wore a pair to work the other day and it seemed to get a lot of attention. Just like, you know, guys who are involved and girls involved in like rec running on the staff, and they're like, oh, you're wearing a pair of Ons, and like they wanted to like chat about it, and like they're asking me about the pods at the bottom, and I guess like a newer brand on the scene in a way. Like what's it look like with the store and runners and stuff?
They're a massively fast growing brand. So I think they own something like 40% of the market in Switzerland. Now that's crazy, really. Like to have that much of the running market there. And I think in Europe, something like 10%, or maybe in Germany, 10%. Again, that's a huge number. So they're big in Europe, of course. We have a lot of like walkers come in with them because aesthetically they're brilliant looking shoes. And in the new, walking store that we just opened called Walking by the Running Company, it's in Geelong. It's the announcement we were talking about last week. On will play a really big part in that store because aesthetically clean looking shoe. In terms of the make, there's Swiss made, like not Swiss made, but Swiss designed. They're just really high quality materials, and they're versatile. A lot of them you can run in, but you can also go, as you say, Brady, down the pub in.
Oh, they're all very stylish.
Yeah, so
especially the black on black. That's a very stylish shoe.
Yeah, I think later this year we're going to see models come out that don't complete their range, but they fill in the gaps of the range, and that's what I've been looking for the brand. I remember getting a pair like 3 years ago, and the national sales manager gave me a pair. I jogged in them, and I jogged down the alley in them, and then I gave them back, and I said, I can't take these. I'm not going to wear them. I can't stand them. And that's sort of how I felt about On until the Monster came out, until this Stratus has sort of hit the floor, and then there's a couple of models coming later that I really like the look of too. So they're making good moves.
Interesting. Watch this space with On. Definitely, even with their pro team and stuff in Australia, like they're on the radar for sure now.
Well, they're sponsoring everything, and they're getting in running.
AV season. XCR,
we love that. Like, this is a brand who's going grassroots.
Vic Miles Club, they're sponsoring that.
They're going everywhere. This is no one's invested in these things for a very long time, so it's awesome to see On do it.
Yeah, you're right. Massive thanks to On. Training Talk listener question, Croaks.
Yeah, so we've got a Training Talk segment this week, which is sponsored by Gold Coast Marathon. So run your next PB at the Gold Coast Marathon in 2023. Fast, flat and scenic. There is an event distance for everyone, from the full marathon to the kids 2 and 4 kilometre junior dash. Enter now at goldcoastmarathon.com.au. And so thanks to Gold Coast, we had some listener questions come through for the Training Talk segment. And this week's question, which we had about 4 or 5 people actually write this one in, and it's any tips for helping people training in cold states for coping with the potential heat and humidity on the Gold Coast? So we do have lots of other questions which we will address between now and Gold Coast, but that's the one that we're going to attack tonight. Thoughts, boys?
Good question. The amount of times I've said to people I will never run Gold Coast Marathon because I've stood at that 32k mark where you have to run past the finish line so many times and watch the carnage of people just being like, race is done, and it just looks so open, exposed and hot. I just thought that's definitely something I don't want to ever do. But now I'm doing it in 8 or 9 weeks, and this is relevant for me because I do live in the southern part of Australia where it does get pretty cold over the next 8 or 9 weeks. And I think the hour difference with start time makes a huge difference. Like the 6 a.m. start now means you're probably not going to... What time does the sun come up? 7-ish? 6:45? Like you're not going to be in full sun for at least the first hour of that race, which makes a significant difference compared to what it used to be. So I think that's one... I guess it just like lowers that heat a bit and that factor that it could have. But you are going to see it later in the race. I think for me, I'm going to start where I live in Chukamoama. We still have good, like nice kind of autumn and winter days where it might get to 14, 15 degrees in the middle of the day. So I'm thinking about actually doing some of my longer workouts. So instead of at 7 a.m., just put them back to midday, 1 p.m. I know it's going to change that whole vibe around what you're going to eat and the routines and getting out of the way. But I'm going to kind of do that even if I have to layer up a bit with some long sleeve shirts or some, an extra pair of arm warmers or something like that, just to try and get used to that 15 to 16 degrees, which I think we'll probably experience something like that in the last hour. And we all know the last hour of a marathon is pretty difficult, but plus you're going to have that heat that you haven't potentially been exposed to until then. So I'm going to try to expose myself to a bit of that. And it might even be like, I know I said before I'm going to do Saturday long runs and workouts, but I might even check the weather, and if it looks warmer on a Sunday than it is going to be the Saturday, kind of do that flip just to try and get a bit more acclimatised to it. What do you reckon, boys? Is that a mistake?
I don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Why not?
I really don't like it because it's not going to work. So you're telling me you're going to go out? You're going to go out when it's 15 degrees,
yeah,
and wear arm warmers, and think that you're going to adapt to the heat using that's not going to be anywhere close to hot enough.
But that's how hot it will be at the Gold Coast. It's not going to be 25. It's only going to be 15, 16 by the time I'm finishing.
So perception-wise, you may feel like you've been there, but you're not getting the physiological changes required to actually be adapted to heat better by doing that.
What do you mean? Aren't I running the same temperature at the same pace?
Yeah, but that's not it's not going to help you in any way doing that. You might as well do your workout earlier. If you really want to do it properly, do it properly.
No, but wouldn't it be better if I do my workout in 15 degrees? Because that's what it's going to feel like. It might only be 3 or 5 degrees at 7 a.m. when I'm talking
What's the hottest you think it'll get at the Gold Coast?
18, 16, 18.
16, 18, I don't think you need to do heat work for.
You think just do all my work at 5 to 10 degrees in Malama, and then when I get up there, it's not going to be a shock to the system when it gets to 16, 18.
I think you do your work at what best suits your life, and you don't adjust your training for a race that's going to be 16 to 18 degrees. Because I don't think that temperature is enough to warrant changing your training for.
Interesting. Okay, I don't have to worry about it. Is the people writing in the questions worrying about something they shouldn't have to worry about?
Well, I think if it gets up to 22 degrees, 23 degrees, that's when you should start doing some work for it. That's when you should potentially start doing some sort of heat training. But again, it's not going to get to that, is it? Or if it does, it'll be very late in the race.
Yeah, well, I'm also talking about someone who's hopefully going to be finished, 2.5 hours in, so by 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But there are going to be listeners who are going to be out there at, 10, 11 a.m. where it jumps up pretty quick there.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like you can do heat training and heat training works. Like you can become adapted to run better and perform better in the heat. But you have to do it properly. And if you don't do it properly, then you can cook yourself, or you can hurt your own training by focusing on what we would call a 1%er, like heat training, over the 99%, which is actual proper running training. So what we do know is the fitter you get means the better adapted to heat you'll be. If you go, okay, I've got an hour run to get done, but I want to do heat training as well. So I'm going to run for 45 minutes, and then I'm going to get ready. I'm going to jump in the sauna for 10 minutes. Then I'd say you're best off running for the hour. And if
fitness wins in that situation.
Fitness wins, exactly. Exactly, it does. If someone's got the time and the energy and they want to do it properly, then great, go and do it properly. Like, fully endorse doing it properly. And I think even if it's not just for heat adaptation, like where a lot of athletes now are using heat is for actual performance gains outside of just hot races. So like using heat as a stimulus to get better, to get fitter, to get adaptations, even like outside of just training. So it's one of those things like altitude that you can do to increase stress on the body, even at rest. Like even if you're in the sauna, or like adding stuff to training to make it a little more stressful in order to become a fitter athlete, basically be more efficient on race day.
Average weather in July, low of 9, high of 21. Did you feel it at all, Croaks, last year? You finished off after your pacing job?
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, I think we overestimate the impact of the heat on the Gold Coast coming from the southern states because, we're used to training in 3 degrees, 5 degrees, and maybe lower humidity. And so you go up there and you do notice the humidity, but at the end of the day, it's still only like 16, 17 degrees. So that's not going to impact performance that much. And so all of this, like preparing your body for heat, is probably not necessary. But one thing I think is important up there is to make sure that you fuel really well during the race, because that extra humidity, and this is where I noticed it, was early on, like you still feel okay, but then you get to 25, 30K, and if you haven't taken on the fluids, that's when you fall in a hole. So I think it's really important to keep on top of that to fight off the effects of the humidity that you'll feel the back end of the race.
Yeah, it's a perception thing. Like, it will feel warmer because you're not used to it. But I actually don't think that it's going to affect your performance like Croak said. So just being aware that it will feel warmer, but not worrying about it too much, like not stressing about it.
So should people try to take more fluids in training, knowing that they'll have to do that on race day?
Well, that's probably not a bad tip in terms of just getting their stomach ready, because obviously if you're training in a cold environment, you'll often go, I don't feel like drinking because it's 3 degrees, but you want to prepare your stomach to be able to handle all that. Because you've got to remember, if you're coming out of the winter here, like all of those sweat glands and stuff, you just don't sweat as much. And so then you get up there and you get that humidity and you start sweating more. And obviously the humidity means that it's not really cooling you down that much. And so you're just going to be losing more and more fluids. And that's why it's really important to actually, keep on top of it early so that it doesn't hit you in that last 10K.
I like that, boys. Good conversation around that. Anything else there, Croaks? massive thanks to Gold Coast for for supporting the show.
Yeah, we should do that.
Anything else we need to say? It's going to be good. Big things coming for Gold Coast. All three of us are going to be there. Got a
book still. You blokes booked?
Yeah, I'm booked. I'm locked in. I'm pacing the lead women again.
Are you? What pace?
Not sure, but I think it'll be sort of at that course record pace of so back through 72 minutes through half.
Are you going to finish it?
I'm undecided yet.
Me and you might be together. I might be in that group, Croak 72.
Well, if I run 29:15 on the weekend, I may actually have a crack at the marathon.
What, after dropping them at 30?
You know what's going to happen here, Moose? I'm going to have a bad day. Guess who's going to go past me at 39k?
Yeah, it's bullshit, isn't it?
It is bullshit, yeah. And he's going to get paid more than me. Like, he'll get his pay for the pacing, and then he'll come past, smoke me. I have to listen to it for the next 3 years. Yeah, next 3 years I'll be hearing about that.
I won't be beating you, mate. That's all right.
No, I'm not that fit, Croaks, at the moment. Definitely not in 29:15 shape, that's for sure. Moose on the loose, purchase of the week.
Purchase of the week. Got a good one here.
Oh, you bought a shop, didn't you? Tell us about this shoe store.
Yeah, this is Moose on the promo. Basically, we had a lot of, over the last 10 years or so of working in running stores, 12 years actually, a lot of people come in and the first comment they make to us, I'm not sure if I should be in here. I don't know if this is the right place for me. I'm not a runner. I just walk. Right? I hear that several times a day. And there's a general sort of feel out there that going into a running store can be quite an intimidating environment for someone who doesn't run. We've got posters on the wall of Ali Pashley and Sinead Diver leading the New York Marathon. We got Prefontaine at an indoor meet on one wall. We've got trophies on the wall from some gun runner. All these singlets up there, race bibs. It's quite intimidating for someone who's not a runner. But we did have almost 45% of our customers were walkers. And so Bree and I and Big Christoph at Clifton Hill, we decided to go into the walking game. So we wanted to create an environment where someone can walk in and not feel intimidated. So they're going to, a walker will come in our store and there won't be any big posters. There'll be no flashy images and there's no, there's no elitism about it. There's no celebration of running. It's just a comfortable space with a toned down vibe with a different selection of shoes for someone who needs to either wear shoes to work, to go for a bushwalk, to walk around the town, to push their pram. We'll get a lot of mums and dads come in doing a bunch of walking with their pram. So that's our space now. It's called Walking by the Running Company. It's a bit of a franchise thing here. We want to tie it back. The running company's got a good reputation in town, so we still need we still fit people properly. It's still a high service environment, perhaps even more of a high service environment. It's just a little bit of a different vibe, different selection of shoes. Really excited, actually. It's taken us. Well, it hasn't taken that long, really. It's been a tight turnaround. Bit of stress lately before the shop opened, and we're still missing a few things like some signage and that. But yeah, we go now.
Yeah, good on you. Exciting times.
Yeah, this is where you get your pub shoes from.
I've got enough pub shoes. I don't go to the pub that often, actually. I have enough shoes. I don't need shoes to go to the pub. Just running K's, Moose. Just running K's.
I reckon you come in, you find something for yourself.
Is it close to the other store? Next door or something?
Yeah, it's round the corner. So we're on a corner block, but we're the two shops back from the actual corner. So we have an L. So out the back there's our stock room, and one direction out of the stock room is the run store, and the other direction is the walk store. They don't interact in any way, except the back of house is all combined.
Different uniforms though. I saw a picture today wearing denim shirts.
Yeah, fuck, you can see I done my back.
You looked real stiff, didn't you?
Bree's holding me up. I literally nearly fell over after that.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was a terrible photo from me, but Bree looked good.
It just looked good there.
So you'll struggle to walk around the walking store this week then, Moose. You won't be able to walk at all.
Are you going to do race walking shoes?
What's a race walking shoe?
You know, like the race walking at the Olympics and stuff, like
I
Jarryd
know
Talent.
what they are. But what are their shoes?
What do they wear?
They wear running shoes.
Oh, do they?
They've actually, like, I was talking to
Riddy and Cowley. See what he ran at Jells Park? He's a race walker. He ran like 18:35.
Did he?
Yeah, he's a good runner though. He's run like 29:30, I think.
Jeez, yeah. No, he's pretty good. They all run. I remember seeing Jemima Montag out for a jog at St. Moritz.
Yeah.
And she came fourth at the Olympics, didn't she? I think she did.
Yeah, she
Fourth.
did. Got a picture with Kipchoge on the bus, remember?
And she goes, oh, yeah. We asked her later, me and Sinead, we were running together, and we said, oh, you always go for a run? And she's like, yeah, I get bored walking, so I just start running.
I saw her hooking around the main street of Moama one year. Same
running
thing.
or walking?
Well, she was walking, but she was going about 4-minute K pace. Like, she was flying. I was like, who is this? I'm like, oh, yeah, Olympic 4th place.
But they were a bit behind the walkers, like when the Super Shoe stuff came out.
Oh, really?
And
didn't like it.
Yeah, so I remember...
They wear those now?
They do now, yeah, a lot of them do. But someone wore, like, at the Olympics, they were wearing the Alpha Flies, and they looked horrible. Like, the amount of...
walking.
Because walking, you're in contact with the ground for so much longer.
Race walking. We're talking about race walking here, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, race walking, yeah. Race walking. It's some minutes walking. It's fast walking. But you're in contact with...
2 weeks in a row we've spoken about race walking. Kerry Saxby last week.
Oh, yeah, Kerry.
Oh, you were on about that, weren't you? Your little pin-up girl, Kerry Saxby.
But you reckon the super shoes, though, because you got that extra pop, make it harder to stay on the ground?
Yeah.
The whole time?
Oh, you'd sink in, though, wouldn't you?
They still like the lower profile ones. So the lower profile, firmer ones look like the Go still. They don't want the real soft, spongy ones.
Anyway, fellas, let's finish the episode there. What's coming up? Much? Sydney 10, Albert Park 10.
10K, Albert Park 10K.
Who's in the 10K cracks? Will you win it? If you run 29:15, you'd win it, wouldn't you?
Nah, so I think Ed Goddard's the favourite.
Oh, yeah, Ed will win it, my boy.
But Kieran Perkins, who won last year, the milkman, as Moose calls him.
Yeah, we like him. He's our man.
He's coming back.
Good.
Benny Saint's having a run.
Oh, yeah. Top 5, though, I reckon, for you.
Coxie.
Luke Hintz.
Oh, yeah, he won the cross-country race up there a couple of weeks ago.
He ran 30:01 last year, so he'll be looking to go under 30.
Which is the one you said you'd flog in our message group.
Yeah, Matt Cox.
Oh, you said flog Cox? Yeah.
That's the one who's been lipping off, Cox, if you're listening. You're a dead man walking, according to Cox.
You guys said
right now.
That's the bet that Moose has got. So there you go. If what was it? Because you think I'll beat Coxie.
Nah, you said you would.
I did not. Nah, he beat me last year.
Yeah,
what did he run last year?
29. He beat me by about 5 seconds last year.
Okay.
Beat me Canberra Marathon too in 2017. He won. He actually won Canberra Marathon.
Had some good Melbourne marathons back in the day, Coxie.
Yeah, got a faster marathon PB than you, Brady.
He does. Quality runner. Quality runner,
man.
Coxie. He does. He's a 14, 15, 14, 18 guy too. Me and him come last and second last at the Melbourne Track Classic one year.
And you should see Strava. He is blue collar. He's out at like 4 a.m. in the morning doing like 90-minute runs most days of the week. Big miles.
He's got a couple of kids too, doesn't he? Maybe I just need to harden up and do what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got a kid. He's running 180k a week, but he trains so early.
Has he got 1 or 2 kids?
He's got 1.
Yeah, that's a dream when you got 1. Cox. There he is on Strava. Who's going to win Albert Park 10K, Moose? You saw the form at Jells Park. Who wins?
Oh, well, I mean, going off that, I'd be backing in Ed Marks, wouldn't you?
Ed Marks. Oh, I'd probably nearly go Cody if it was over 10K. I don't know a lot about Ed Marks, but I know Cody's been around the scene for a few years and might have a bit of extra strength with the extra 4K.
Well, no, have a think about it. Who was in that first leg?
Bucks.
Who was doing well? Bucks, he won't run Albert Park.
No, he's not. I think he's back with 10 relays. Round 1 and round 10 he's doing.
Don't worry about Bucks. Who was second?
Oh, I'm trying to think who was in that lead pack. Archie Noakes was up there, wasn't he?
Jeez, I'm backing Archie Noakes.
He'd be still over 20, wouldn't he? Do they run with us?
He'd run. Yeah, they do.
I think they do. Yep. Croaks, you got a prediction for Albert Park?
I'll have to get. Oh no, who was? I'm trying to think who else was.
What do you reckon?
Top?
Which race is going to be deeper, Moose? Albert Park or Sydney 10?
Oh, deeper.
In terms of what cutoff? Like, I'd say Albert
top
Park.
10 or top 20?
Go top 20.
Albert Park will be deeper, but Albert Park won't be certified. So
they should certify it. Like I wish they did certify it. You pay good rego money. It's a big, deep race.
Well, I'm going to stick up for New South Wales here because New South Wales have copped a lot of shit over the last year with
mainly.
No, not from me, from you two blokes about you guys only ran like 9.9k, and because people ran fast. Now
it's been a good gag.
Yeah, it's been a good gag, but in about 6 days' time, that gag ends. And the attention gets turned to Athletics Victoria. Now, you guys should be campaigning for AV to make that a legit 10K course.
Yeah.
That comes up next, doesn't it, Brady?
Definitely.
Although, you guys are paying big dollars to run every week, aren't you?
Yeah.
Part of the winter season.
We got with some fucking tattoos, some temporary tattoos from that.
Yeah, got an Athletics Victoria temp tat.
This
is why they don't like us, Moose. This is why they don't share our podcast on their social media. So we just got to slow down.
That's your Moose on the loose.
I sent Athletics Australia a DM the other day, but they never replied to me as well. I was asking them. I don't know. I think they just left me on unseen. Yeah. Whoever runs that account, if anyone knows, can you ask them to reply to my Instagram DM?
Just ask them how much it costs to promote a podcast.
That's what I was going to ask. That's legit.
Must cost a bit, surely.
Must. I don't know. Surely, though, if they want some money, just reply to me message.
You had Bucks on, right? We had an interview with Bucks.
No, Andy Buchanan we had.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Andy Buchanan, right?
We had Jess Hull on the other week.
Jess Hull, and they didn't want to promote that.
No.
So what were they promoting?
Oh, I don't know. Something. Don't get into it now. I'll wait and see if I get a response first. All right, boys. That's episode number 287. We must, there are some things coming with a new Road 2 series. So I might not be here next week. I might be on the new Road 2 series. I'm not sure. But if I'm not here, fellas, have fun for the next 8 or 9 weeks. May be here, may not be here. We're just waiting. The boss is moving a few magnets around on the board to see who's on what shows. But a massive thanks to the Patreon supporters for supporting the show to make the Road 2 series as possible. And if you're going to the Gold Coast, just keep an eye on. We'll have some news about that in the coming weeks as well, about a potential live show there. Things are nearly locked in. It's going to be a good. If everything gets locked in, which I'm hearing is on the table, it's going to be a very good, fun live show. So keep an eye on our socials and I'll keep listening to the show to hear all about those things.
So you're saying we need a guest host next week, Brady?
I'm seeing where the magnets are starting to get moved, and I'm thinking it could be potentially one guest host to do the whole 8 weeks, if you get my gist. These are the conversations we should be having off air, but I'm sure there'll be some Patreon supporters interested. Or I could be still on this show, and there might be other people on the next Road 2 one. The
main thing is there's bonus content coming to Patreon very soon.
Oh, there's big demand for something permanent with Ali and Sinead as well. People are liking those people together.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's all coming. Just there'll be answers this time next week. Put it that way. See you, boys.
See you next week.
Bye.
All the best with the back, Moose.
Oh yeah, Moose. Good luck there. Keep that heat pack on it.
Yeah, gotta go heat it up right now.
Enter the 2023 Gold Coast Marathon now and run your best race this July. 60% of runners achieve a PB at this event, and you can too. Head to goldcoastmarathon.com.au to enter now.